Hello, welcome back to another video where today it's an anniversary. It was 25 years ago today, the day I'm recording this, and hopefully the day it's uploaded as well, that this album here by Oasis was released. Their one and only live album they ever released while they were together originally, Familiar to Millions. So like I say, on the day of recording this video and the day it's hopefully uploaded, it's the 25th anniversary of this album. So it was originally released on the 13th of November 2000, and like I say as well, it was Oasis' one and only live album they ever released while they were together originally. They've since subsequently released Nebworth, and there'll definitely be a live album coming from the Live 25 tour, but for a long time this was the only live album they ever put out, which is quite remarkable when you think about it. And it was also pretty much impossible to find the LP, the vinyl of this, until this has just been released, literally tomorrow at the time of reload, and this is an early copy, but we'll get into that. But speaking of this copy here, I will show you it now, so let's go on, Ollie, get them shown. So this is the front cover, folks. As you can see, this is blue, in case you're colourblind and can't see. Now, I won't, because I've been sent this a day early, and I shouldn't have got this yet, I won't tell you where I've got this from, so I don't get anyone into trouble, but I won't say where I've got the HMV exclusive blue vinyl from. But it's a shop that I don't normally use, but on this instance I have, because the normal cover on the record is grey. And I don't really like the cover of this album anyway, to be honest, but I just think it looks a little nicer in blue than in the grey. But anyway, that's the front cover. And there's the back cover, folks. As you can see, Gem, Andy and Alan White are on there. It's good to see the rest of the band on, because it's always annoyed me that it's just the Gallaghers on the front cover, but it's good to see that the rest of them do make it at least onto the back cover. Just to show you as well, this is the album artwork when it's fully opened. It does look pretty good like that, actually. It looks better than the normal version where it's folded in half. It's a bit like the Shoulder Giants cover in many ways. It only really works when it's fully opened. So the album itself is a gatefold. Now, because it's a triple album, it means it opens up again, but this is when you initially open it up, what it looks like. So this is it fully opened up. I do apologise, I can't fit the whole thing in, so I'll have to slide it along like this, but that is the full artwork, which is pretty cool to see. It seems like it's a mixture of some like Shoulder of Giants type artwork, plus it seems to be outtakes of the band from, I'm assuming it's gigs across the whole tour. Anyway, because it's a triple album, I will show you all three records. Can I just say though, before we do this cost me £55. I don't normally talk about prices on this channel, but 55 quid in this day and age for a triple album is bloody good value for money. Normally these days, triple albums, a cheap triple album these days would be 75 quid, so the fact they're only charging 55 for this puts shame on quite a lot of other artists, to be honest. But anyway, let's show you. So I'm assuming this is the first LP, so there you go, that's the first side of that, and there's the other side. I'm guessing these are just crowd shots of Wembley. I haven't seen these records yet, by the way, so we're going to see these for the first time together. Ooh, look at that. Look at that. So, there we go, it's on blue vinyl, as you can see. The label there, it looks like it's a map of, it was the old Wembley obviously, so, which was better I think than the new one, or at least the Twin Tower design. The two Twin Towers should have been kept on the new one. But yeah, there you go. Side A and side B, is it? Yeah, this is LP1, I think. Is it LP1? Yeah. So there you go, it's on this sky blue, I'm going to assume it's called. Looks really nice, I'm pleased with this. Okay, we'll have a look at the second one. The artwork on all these sleeves are all the same. It just seems to be crowd shots, or blurred, artistic, shall we say, crowd shots from the Wembley gigs. Whee! Again, maps of Wembley. It's a very nice blue, this. There you go. It's a yellow label on that side. So, yeah, that's disc 2. And finally here we have disc 3 again. It looks the same. I think they are the same actually, all these sleeves, which is a bit uncreative. Is that the right word? Uncreative. Again, grey label and a green label. It's upside down. But yeah, they all seem to have the map of Wembley on, which is pretty cool to see. So yeah, that's my copy of the album. I'm pleased to finally own this. It was it is the last Oasis album that I needed to own on LP, as I should say, not vinyl, LP. Yeah, and I'm pleased that I've got this early as well. So hopefully, I've got it on the actual anniversary, so if all goes to plan, you are seeing this on the anniversary of this album coming out. So anyway, over to me now, over there, to tell you the album background for this LP. Go on, Ollie, get them told. So since this album here is a live album, this is probably going to be a shorter video, he says, because there's not really that much to say about a live album. So we'll quickly do the background and we'll do the track by track review. But the track by track review, I'm not going to go into a lot of depth about the songs, because I've reviewed them all from when I've reviewed their corresponding albums. So yeah, I'll just quickly gloss over how each performance is and how I find it. Anyway, Familiar to Millions, this is taken from Oasis's performance at Wembley in July 2000. Most of the album comes from the first night at Wembley. There's bits of it that come from elsewhere on the tour, we'll get into that later in the video. But originally, the plan was that Oasis were playing 2 nights at Wembley and they would take the best performances from each night and form a live album from it. Surprisingly enough, however, night 2, they didn't use anything from that. All of this comes pretty much from night 1 of Wembley. And the reason being, I imagine if you're watching this video, you'll know the story anyway. But night 2, Liam showed up absolutely pissed. I don't think he'd been to bed from the night before. And he spent most of the gig ranting and raving and just, Noel would later say that second night of Wembley was the absolute low point of Oasis. So it's funny, because there's an entire video of it, because both nights were filmed. The first night has been released as Familiar to Millions as a DVD, and the second night, well, that was broadcast live. It went out live at the time on Sky, I think it was, and basically the whole world could watch Liam ranting and raving about his divorce at the time from Patsy Kensit. So yeah, it's a funny watch. Give it a watch if you've never seen it. So throughout 2000, Oasis were on a world tour supporting their then new album, Standing on the Shoulder of Giants, and this tour was also the first one that would ever feature Gemma Archer and Andy Bell, who are still with Oasis until this day. And at the time when they joined the band and went on this tour, they must have felt like they'd joined a right circus, because this tour was certainly full of some shenanigans, shall we say. So probably the biggest shenanigan, shall we call it, that occurred on this tour happened on May 24th. I think it was in Barcelona, but don't quote me on that. Basically what happened was Liam got really drunk, there's a pattern developing here, isn't there? And he started questioning the legitimacy of Noel's then baby daughter, Acquiesce. And Noel he basically hit the roof about this, and he quit overseas touring with Oasis. So for the rest of that tour, Noel would only play gigs that were in the UK and in Ireland. Anywhere else in the world, Noel was subbed by Matt Dighton, I think is how you pronounce it. So he did all the international dates, filling in for, well, technically Gem was promoted to Noel, he got to do the lead guitar, and then Matt did Gem's rhythm guitar parts. And then Noel did all the UK dates. So because this is from July at Wembley, Noel obviously appears on this album. They were never going to release a live album without Noel on it, let's be honest. Noel did eventually rejoin Oasis properly at the end of this tour, so all the subsequent tours he went back to doing international touring. But yeah, this was a tricky time for the band, and it looked like for a little while, potentially at the end of this tour, that was it, they were done. But Gem and Andy, I think, managed to convince Noel to go back in the studio, and they did Heath and Chemistry. Regardless, I just want to say as well about Liam at this period, this is Liam at his absolute coolest. His hair, his clothes, everything about him just screams cool at this point, especially in comparison to now, because I don't like the clothes he wears anymore. But yeah, this was Liam at his absolute coolest. So like I say, there was 2 nights done at Wembley, and nothing from night 2 was used from this, but night 1 as well wasn't perfect. It wasn't like this fantastic performance, it was more salvageable than the second night to put out as a live album. But even then, it wasn't up to the standard that Noel, I imagine, felt it needed to be put out. So when they came to prepare this album and mix it, they had to make some tweaks to some of the songs. And to do this, they would use audio from other nights on the tour, and they would merge it with the audio of the Wembley gigs, and yeah, basically create this hybrid album, which, means it's not a pure live album, but still it's better than nothing, I suppose. Also, some of the talking in between the songs has also been removed. Most of it is still on here, but because some of it's been removed, it kind of doesn't make sense what they're talking about. It all sounds a bit weird out of context. They'd have been better either removing all of it or leaving it all in, but anyway. Now, upon its original release, this album received mixed reviews from critics, and not long afterwards, Noel would completely disown the album. He's been very, very critical of this live album over the years, which I imagine is why it's taken us 25 years to finally get it reissued. Plus, I imagine another thing has driven this to be reissued. Now, upon its release, originally it got to number 5 in the charts, which is pretty solid going for a live album. Live albums, they don't tend to do that well in the charts, but this one getting to number 5 is pretty good going, I imagine, depending on when the Oasis Live 25 live album comes out next year, which it will, it 100% will happen. I imagine that will go to number 1, but it depends when they put it out. But yeah, that's all there is to really say about the background of this album, so we're now going to dive into a track-by-track review. As I said earlier in the video, I'm not going to go in depth into each of these tracks, I'll just say what I think of the performance. If you want to know what I think about more of the individual tracks, then go and watch my corresponding reviews for the albums that those tracks are from. Some of them videos are quite old now, so yeah, God knows what I say about them. I maybe disagree with what I say in them now, but anyway, let's go into a track-by-track review. So the album starts with Fuckin' in the Bushes, but this isn't a live performance of it, it's literally just the tape of it. So why they felt the need to put this on the album, I don't know, it doesn't really make much difference it being here. So the first true performance comes after that, which is Go Let It Out. Now this performance is a lot heavier, I would say, than the record of it. It's still got some of those psychedelic sound effects, but it kind of loses its psychedelic charm at the same time compared to the record. Now, it's a decent performance this, it's a shame that they've never done it again. I don't think they ever did play it live again after this tour. Maybe they did on the tour of Brotherly Love that came along next after this. It was maybe done on that one, but after that it was never touched again, which is a shame. But yeah, it's a decent performance. Liam's voice on this song, it sounds a bit hoarse, his voice on this album. He sounds like he's struggling in bits, but it's not bad. It's still solid on this song, and yeah, it's a good performance. I like it. So next on the album is Who Feels Love, and this is also played heavier than its record, but it also manages to maintain its psychedelic charm, probably a bit better than Go Let It Out does. Good performance. I like it. It's a shame it was never played live again after this tour, but yeah, solid performance. And after that comes Supersonic. Again, it's Supersonic, you know what it is. It's a good performance. Liam sings it well, the band plays well. There's not much to say about it. It's Supersonic at the end of the day. So next on the album comes Shakermaker. And this one's actually quite interesting because earlier in the tour, Some Might Say was positioned here. But if you listen to a bootleg from Japan, it's pretty early in the tour. I can't remember where, but it's quite a famous bootleg. When Liam's singing Some Might Say, he completely loses his voice. He tries to go for the high notes and you hear him genuinely physically struggle to reach them. So Noel has to take over and sing the chorus of it while Liam's singing the verses. And then on the subsequent song he completely loses his voice and then Noel has to solo the entire gig and take over. So after that performance, I think Shakermaker replaced Some Might Say for the whole tour. So by the time we got to this point, Shakermaker is played. Noel went around at the time saying the reason why it's been put in its place was because Liam can't sing Some Might Say anymore, the notes are too high for him. I don't know if Liam ever came out saying that at the time, but pretty sure after that, I don't think Oasis ever played Some Might Say again until the reunion tour. So yeah, but anyway, Shakermaker, I like this song. I've always liked this song, and yeah, it's a good performance, decent enough. So the song that defines Oasis comes up next, Acquiesce, and again, it's a decent performance this. Liam's voice on this one, actually, again, it sounds quite hoarse and it's quite rough, but it also works quite well. It has a charm to it, his voice on this album. Noel sings his bits well, the band's playing well, yeah, solid performance. Step Out comes along next, which is the first Noel vocal of the album, and to be honest, I don't really know why this is here, because earlier in the tour, Where Did It All Go Wrong and Sunday Morning Call were both played live at this point in the set. But I don't know, by this point had Noel completely fallen out of love with them songs and decided to disown them? Because I know he hates both of them, particularly Sunday Morning Call. But yeah, I didn't think during the tour he'd started hating them that much, but maybe he did, and that's why Step Out's here. Anyway, it's never a song I've massively cared for, Step Out, so of all the Noel vocals, I don't know why he felt the need to put this one in its place. Obviously there are people out there that think Liam should have sung this, maybe he should have done it in the 90s, but I can tell you for a fact, if by this point, listening to the rest of Liam's vocals on here, and from around this period, there's no way Liam would have been reaching the high notes on the chorus of this song by this point, like the way Noel is here. But even then, I don't think it's the best song they ever did, to be honest. So, decent performance, but I don't really care for the song that much. So up next is Gas Panic, and of all the songs that are on this album, this is for most people probably the song on the album that people will listen to the most, because it's a really, really solid performance, this. The moodiness of this song is perfectly captured in this performance, and of all the songs on the album, it's probably the only one where this live performance does probably surpass the studio recording of it. Liam's vocals are fantastic on here, but the band are playing brilliantly as well. Noel on that guitar is fantastic on here. It's a long song, it's a long performance, it's dragged out a bit, 8-9 minutes I think it goes on for. The last 3 minutes I think is just an instrumental outro. And yeah, the band are playing really, really well on here. For me, this era of Oasis, this lineup of Oasis is Oasis at their absolute peak. Although arguably I would say the reunion lineup is now the best lineup Oasis could possibly have. But of the original run of Oasis, the 94 to 2009, this was Oasis at their peak. I know everyone's nostalgic for 90s Oasis, but listen to this performance, 90s Oasis could not pull this off. Gem and Andy, fantastic musicians, they deserve to be in Oasis. Thank God they're in the reunion tour, because I don't think the reunion tour would be as good without Gem and Andy being there, so yeah. Anyway, yeah, Gas Panic, this is definitely the highlight of the album. It's the best track on here, and it's probably for most people the most listened to song on this album. Roll With It comes along next, and again, it's Roll With It, you know what to expect. Liam sings it well, Noel sings his harmonies well. In fact, at the end of the first chorus, Liam actually does tease Noel about him getting his harmonies right, which is quite amusing. But anyway, yeah, it's Roll With It. It's not the best song Oasis have got, but it's good live. And I can now say, from experience, it is very good live, this song, so yes, it should be in the set. Stand By Me comes along next, which is the only Be Here Now track on the album, which tells you all you need to know about the album. Liam sings this one well, Noel sings his harmonies well. It's a good performance. For everything on here, this is probably the second best performance on the album, I would go as far as to say. Yeah, solid performance. And if you watch the video of this, I should say, like I say, the first night is also on a DVD called Familiar to Millions. I think the entire thing is on YouTube, someone's uploaded it. And during the Stand By Me performance, there's a very nice surprise, there's a very nice view during that performance, gentlemen. Anyway, here's Wonderwall, and this is from that interesting period where Oasis refused to play it like the record because they always felt like they couldn't nail it. In fact, it wasn't until the last tour in 2008, 2009, the Dig Out Your Soul tour, when they did actually start playing it acoustically like on the record. So this song is played entirely on the electric guitars, which gives it a heavier feel. And this is the first, and it's definitely the first of the hybrid songs on here, because during the original performance at Wembley, Liam let the crowd sing the chorus, and he also started changing the words a bit in the verses. Now, I'm maybe in the minority here, but if I'm listening to a live album, I'm sorry, I don't want to listen to the crowd singing. I'm not interested in that. I want to listen to the band singing. And obviously Oasis felt that way because they removed Liam's vocal track from this, and instead it's been replaced with Liam's vocal track from one of the Japanese gigs earlier in the tour. So we have a hybrid performance here. The band themselves playing the music is the Wembley gig, but the vocals are from a Japan gig. I can't remember which one, sorry. And even if I could, I'd probably mispronounce it. I'll put it on the screen, the name of which gig it's taken from, whereabouts in Japan. Anyway, because this vocal is from earlier in the tour, it's quite noticeable when you're listening to this album that this is not from the same gig. Liam's voice sounds quite different on this compared to the rest of the album. But yeah, it's Wonderwall. You know what to expect with Wonderwall. And what is nice, we've got the electric version on here, like I say, and this is one of the few times that in fact, it is the only time we've had an electric version of Wonderwall released, so it's nice to get an alternative version on here. So next up on the album is Cigarettes and Alcohol, and Noel starts this off by playing Tomorrow Never Knows for about a minute and a half, which sounds really, really good. And then that iconic T-Rex riff kicks in. And this is the pre-Poznan days, so the crowd are actually facing the band when you watch the video of this. Looks a bit boring, really, not doing the Poznan for this now. Yeah, but it's a decent performance. Liam sings this one well. His hoarse voice kind of suits this song. So, yeah, decent performance. The iconic Don't Look Back in Anger comes along next. You know it, I know it, you know what to expect with this song. And interestingly, Noel shuts up in the chorus of this and lets the crowd sing it. The same thing Liam was doing with Wonderwall, but obviously with Wonderwall they decided to change the vocal take, use vocals from elsewhere because of this very issue. But they didn't do that here. I don't know why. I don't know if on every night of the tour Noel did this so they couldn't find it from anywhere else, but again, it makes it a bit of a drag because, yeah, it's Don't Look Back in Anger, but I'd rather listen to Noel sing the chorus, or if I'm listening to an album, than listen to a crowd at Wembley sing it. It'll be interesting to see with the inevitable Oasis Live 25 album what they do with Don't Look Back in Anger, because they're going to have this same problem, because as far as I'm aware, at every gig, Noel has shut up and let the crowd sing the chorus. Yeah, we will see what happens. But it's a decent performance, it is what it is. And yeah, you can't really go wrong with this song. It's a classic. Live Forever comes along next, and it's decent enough performance. I would say of all the songs on the album, this is probably the one where Liam sounds like he's struggling the most. But nothing too noticeable. Yeah, it's decent enough, not much to say about this one. So at the actual concert, this was the point where the band left the stage and then they came back on for an encore, which kicked off with Noel singing Hey Hey My My Into the Black, which is a Neil Young cover. Most famous, of course, for Kurt Cobain. In his suicide note, he quoted this song, it's better to crash out than to fade away, or whatever, or better to burn out, whatever the saying is, I can't remember off the top of my head. But it's that song. Yeah, it's a decent enough cover. It's not the best Noel's ever done. It's one of those songs, I imagine it would work better Noel singing this acoustically than he does on here. There's two versions of this song that Neil Young's done. There's an electric version and an acoustic version. I've always personally preferred the acoustic version of the original. Noel's doing this more the electric way, obviously, which probably would work better in Wembley than doing an acoustic bit, but yeah, it's a decent enough cover. It's nice to have it, but it's nothing special. Next up, Champagne Supernova, and this is always a highlight of an Oasis gig. In fact, there's an argument to make for this being Oasis' best song. Liam's vocals on here are fantastic. The band are playing well, particularly Noel and Gem on the guitars on here. Yeah, Champagne Supernova, it's a brilliant song, and it should be the closing track, but it's not. So Rock and Roll Star closes out the album and the gig itself. And I've got to be honest with you, it's a weird position this. I don't think it's a good closing track, Rock and Roll Star. To me, it's a song that should always come earlier in the set. Even on the Oasis Live 25 tour, when it's closing the main set, it works okay there, but I do think it's a song that will be better positioned earlier in the set. In the current set list, probably about 3rd place, I would say, after Acquiesce on the Live 25 set. But anyway, as a closing song, I just feel Oasis should be closing their gigs with Champagne Supernova. But they don't do that here. They do it the other way around. Champagne Supernova is second last, and this is the last song, which, you know, it's a decent performance. I just feel Champagne Supernova would have been the more logical closing track, but anyway. So that's it on the vinyl anyway, but if you buy the CD or you listen on streaming, there is an extra track here tagged on at the end, which is Helter Skelter, which I believe is taken from one of the US gigs from the tour. So again, that one's not from Wembley. Noel sings it, and I'm not going to beat around the bush. It's an awful cover. I've never liked Oasis covering this song. They can't pull it off. So, yeah, I'm not bothered about it not being on the record here because it's nothing special. So, familiar to millions, it's pretty remarkable that Oasis, a band really that's main thing was live performances, in their original run from 94 to 2009, they only ever released this one live album, and it's not exactly Oasis at their best, and it's not their finest hour. I mean, yeah, the second night is funny, but they did the right thing not putting it on here because it's not something you really want to sit and listen to. But even the first night on here is not like Oasis at their peak. It's not even one of their best gigs from this tour. So I don't know why they didn't use, to be honest, if they wanted to, one of the Japanese gigs earlier in the tour, because it's probably better performances than it is on here. But yeah, it is interesting. Again, at the time, I mean, Nebworth as well. That never got released until 2021. I don't know why the hell that wasn't released back in the day, but anyway. Now, to be honest, there isn't really much reason to ever listen to this album because, I mean, I'm like that with most live albums. They're not really my thing. It's good to own it, obviously, and finally complete my Oasis collection, but to actually sit and listen to it, it's not something that I would do all that often. Gas Panic is the highlight. Stand By Me is probably second place, if I had to rank all the tracks on here. But other than that, the rest of it is just sort of like, there's no reason to listen to them over the recordings of it, the studio recordings. I don't know why you would, to be honest. But like I said, the Oasis Live 25 album, if that comes out, I'll be more interested. I may be more interested in that live album when it comes because I'll have been at the actual tour, so it'll mean more to me rather than this, because I wasn't at these gigs, so it doesn't really mean anything to me. I'm just an outsider looking in. Perhaps if I'd been at these Wembley gigs in 2000, particularly the first night, the one that got used, I'd enjoy this album more. But as it is, like I say, it's not a bad live album. It's not the worst album that's ever been put out, but it's just inconsequential, I think is a good word to describe this one. So that concludes another video, folks. Once again, thank you very much for watching. If you have enjoyed it, please do like the video and show your support. It genuinely does mean the world. It gets the video out there to more people, which would be marvellous, wouldn't it? Subscribe if you're new around here. Like I say, I think I've reviewed all the Oasis albums now. I've definitely done all the studio albums. I've done the master plan as well. Technically, I suppose I haven't done Time Flies, but there's not really anything to say about that. I haven't done Nebworth, actually. I should probably do that, so I haven't done them all. This isn't the last one that I needed to do. Anyway, yeah, subscribe if you want to see any of them videos or any future videos. Let me know in the comments down below, what do you think of this live album? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Have you picked up this new version? Or do you have an original copy? Let me know if you have an original copy. That would be very interesting to know because they're worth quite a bit of money. Anyway, that's all I've got to say for now. So thank you very much for watching and I will see you on a future video. Goodbye.